You know, when you start throwing around the words 10-year anniversary, naturally one tends to reflect on where we were, what we did, the moments that sort of inspired the waves of culture, if you will. And one of those moments definitely was the release of one Kimi no Nawa, also known as Your Name. And I'm not necessarily sure 10 years ago would have been 2015, 2014. What exactly, quote unquote, happened at that point that it made that movie really stand out? I remember people talking about Makoto Shinkai, yeah, Makoto, yeah, Shinkai, as if he was gonna be like the next Ghibli, right? And that's a lot of praise back then. We were hungry for more Ghibli, and there was this point where anime was starting to become a thing, sort of online in 2012, really started the whole streaming service. Netflix adapted to everything by 2014, and we got something like this that generally had a lot of hype behind it. Now, I've known of these films, Shinkai. I believe just the name that came with it had enough like potential to bring it around, but as many people have different opinions and obviously different rankings on their favorite films in this filmography, but one thing you have to admit is that when this guy shows up, when there is art to be presented, when there is a tearjerker waiting to be jerked, this guy has been providing the sauce. And again, say what it will be, whether it was the interesting writing, whether it was the creative circumstances our main characters are found into, Your Name definitely caused a splash that I would say pushed everybody to take anime and anime films in a more personal slash serious direction. We talked about how people would, show up and be like, yo man, that's them Chinese cartoons, ain't them boy? But when something like this dropped and when people were just excited slash anxious to show everybody in their unit just how grandiose and how intense and inspiring anime film could be, Your Name definitely had a big play in that. And it would lead to a lot of things. It would lead to the hype of one band, one of my fun bands, everyone's fun band, one Radwimps, to start their progress and give them chance to really learn their craft, their music, their style, and you see that sort of style get reflected as each film becomes more and more what we're trying to present here. But the story in itself, the novel it's based off of, it's crazy to think just how when you think about when Star Wars goes like, Luke, I am your father, and how that's synonymous to the pop culture, maybe now not so often these days, but thinking about back then, not knowing what the whole shtick of Kimi no Nawa was and where you get to it, to now be at this place where like, oh, this is the big twist in like fantasy, in creativity, in imagination, that this twist right here brought everyone to the table, like made everyone interested, and like damn it, that story, that circumstance, those characters really do slap. And again, that's coming from someone who 10 years after really wanted to walk into this, just kind of like, just living life. We've been there, we've done that, we've experienced it, but you're there in the room, and you're putting things together, and obviously the knowledge that you have now, 10 years after seeing this film, you can reflect on that, and every fun little moment that it's supposed to be coming makes more sense in its way. It it's a film that I honestly I I appreciate it. I'm not gonna I'll be real with you. It's not my favorite out of all of them, obviously. But it hits me in a specific way because it really makes me think about the cultures and just how close you can be, right? How close a state of Japan could be to another state, but how radically different their lifestyles can be, right? As someone who grew up in the city, as someone whose father grew up in the city, a completely different city, and as someone whose mother grew up in the very rural mountains of Mexico, I do see this film in a completely like personal lens. It's just a interesting roundabout of trying to understand just how two completely random people could somehow end up at the same place at the same time. And thinking about just those instances really makes me just contemplate just random how randomized this whole scenario called the universe really is. And so like I come at this like very analytically, right? It's a cute film, and I really enjoy what they did here. The fantastical elements are there to really make you feel the emotional impact. But as someone who really takes this somewhat personally, and someone who tends to just instantly nitpick just stories in order to just understand what we're actually trying to tell each other here, the lessons, the facts, the emotions that we're trying to convey here, and trying to watch this film with a very surreal mind, and trying to really understand how two people can actually realistically end up in this at this point, right? Living two completely different lives, but completely sharing each other's experiences, whether it be through text, whether it be through a letter back in those days, or whether now it be through Snapchat or some shit. And to be able to live through each other's lives, right? Two completely different cultures, even though they're in the same nation. Just what that could mean now, where nations are instantly connected, where messaging is completely re-energized in a universal, in a national, in a international level. And as potato as it all sounds, it just makes me think maybe that is what the point of the film is, but it makes you think that just you're out there living your life, you're out there being you, you're out there hypothetically, hopefully enjoying your existence. And the universe, the Disney escapism wants to present to you this idea of a Prince Charming, or a princess that will be in need of saving, that you can actually showcase your worth, and hopefully in that moment you can exchange companionship, or or commitment with each other. And again, not that none of that isn't beautiful, but is it real? Is it real? Is it realistically real? And again, as someone who comes, especially now, comes to this movie on a very personal note, it it could be. It just dead ass. Those crazy ass motherfucking kids went through a lot to get to where they are now, but it happened. And because it happened, legitimately because it happened, I exist. And that that is something I would think about every time I go watch this film. But it has been 10 years, man. It has been 10 years. A lot of things have completely changed, some for the better, some for the worse. Again, I'm able to reflect on my time. Hello, hello. Reflect on my time 10 years ago and like what kind of person I was then and what sort of impact this film had on me then. Wife. But what what lessons now coming from it? I think that's the craziest, dumbest, funnest part. The fact that I'm able to go out there and sit in the movie theater, being a very much of age person, and still generally question my existence in that room, and still leave that film feeling or experiencing or learning or feeling a sense of growth, whether that be from the film itself or being able to quote unquote understand what we're seeing there. And it's been a crazy 10 years, right? It's and to think like how from here how much further these guys would go in their films or in their animation, and seeing where we go from there, man. It's crazy. Again, it's super, 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 super crazy to think that just 10 years ago, we were just barely getting into the idea of like, hey, the kids over in America really like this anime stuff. Let's try investing in it just a bit more, that we get, that we finish Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. But then from that point forward, anime movies, it just really became this what we know of it today. That is generally frightening in a way of like, they always say that technology grows exponentially in a rate twice as fast. But yeah, to think just how fast we went from, hey, Adult Swim is presenting 4 or 5 animes on Saturday night, 12 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever have you, to the point where now we have Demon Slayer Part 3 finale, whatever have you, legitimately competing with Disney for the #1 animated film spot. That's where we're at. Again, not saying that's a good thing, not saying that's a bad thing, but I miss this, man. I miss this. I feel like we actually had like, even though it was based on the story, I feel like we just still had a guy and his team out there trying to prove something, trying to do something heartfelt, something wholesome, right? And obviously, Demon Slayer has those moments, but it is these films, it is these stories that just have a beautiful moment to them, that you just go in there, you sit there, and you have a moment that are only enhanced by how beautiful every single scene is, how completely detailed all this night sky is, much more in this 4K remastered version. But Where's that art today? Where are those pioneers? And can we expect just one more film from Shinkai? Or are we finally at a point where Netflix, Sony, Crunchyroll no longer see the value in supporting another one of these stories? That's a legitimate question. So, what I'll say is that Your Name, Kimi no Nawa, still holds up. Definitely, definitely, definitely. I'll tell you right now, again, it is not my favorite film, but my favorite film specifically holds a very, very dear place in my heart. Maybe I'll tell you some other time. Or maybe I'll tell you when the 10-year anniversary of that film comes out. But to see that art, right? To see those art pieces, that all of this is just one frame of art after another. Art, 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 art. And to see that art fully detailed, right? To see that night sky, to see that comet, to see those colors shine brightly, that has to come from somewhere. Somewhere personal, somewhere real. And as much as we like to believe, or as much as the fat cats and the big wigs like to believe that you can just program a device to create emotion, you can try. I really do think you can try. You can get a result. That's not a doubt in my mind. But I don't think the result you're looking for is gonna come from the click of a button. It just can't. At least that's my theory. So, if you have a calling, if you have a dream, a passion, right? Thinking about how someone can experience each other's lives through a screen, specifically in this timeline, how they can share moments, how they can spend time that might be 3 hours ahead mountain time, 8 hours ahead China time. We shouldn't be allowed to interact. This information that we generate doesn't always get shared. But because enough people care, because there's been enough of a cultural shift where we are aware of each other's existence, there will always be a hunger to understand. Whether that comes from fear or whether that comes from a genuine curiosity is the question. Things will change. Things always change. That is the simplistic view of life. What matters, or what generally influences that life, is how we build it, how do we create it, where we choose to spend our lives. And again, the choice to leave everything you've ever known, a completely different language with genuinely no hope, and let's just call it expected circumstances or unexpected circumstances, cannot be an easy choice, right? just like if it is someone's choice to leave a village for a city or to choose to experience a different life, a new version of themselves. All that is great. It's beautiful. But there is a genuine fear of what you can become or who you will be or what those choices will make you. So 10 years is a long time. Dead ass. and and remembering, right? Just taking pleasure in remembering those those have their own their value as well. It's very true. But go live life, man. Honestly, go enjoy yourself. It's time, honestly, it's time is like the only currency we have, real talk. So it's very important to know what you're doing with it, and if you can, putting in that effort or pushing into to just generally grow yourself. There's nothing more satisfying in my personal opinion than generally doing the things that you enjoy and finding the next steps or the lessons to go from there, right? And I won't tell you that we have all the answers in the universe because obviously life is its own situation, but the best that I can believe that I can do is to just grow as a person, to understand what it is that I am, and go out there and figure out how that has to be, right? That is in action, consequences, and just who you become really can affect what you do, and more than that, just the general influence, the image, out of the aura that you represent, just the energy that you give back into universe, and you never know when it's gonna come back to get you. So yeah, that's crazy, man. Fate has a lot of funny things in life, and again, it's gonna it kind of sucks because it just really just feels like um, certain companies might just be out there rehashing the 10-year, the 15-year to generate more cash or whatever, more revenue, which again isn't a terrible thing, but I I, I really hope we get more films like this. Shinkai, Makoto Shinkai, come on, bro, and I really hope we do, man. But I don't necessarily feel like the quote unquote industry is willing to go back to something that maybe it's not worth their time or their money. So that is the state of things. It's a little bummery, I know, but hey, man, who knows? 10 years from now, oh lordy, when discs no longer exist in the universe, then hey, I'll still have my Blu-ray copy of Your Name. So, hey, it's not too bad, huh? But until then, go watch Your Name. It's gonna make you feel emotions. I think that's my favoriteest part of all this is going back to it and be like, oh man, I didn't feel like that the first time, did I? So let me know what you feel when you re-experience emotions. You think it's not gonna get you because, like, yeah, you know all the plot twists, but at the same time, it's the beauty of like every emotion that is built within that short 2 hour frame, that is really worth it, man. They don't make them like they used to, dead ass. So go check it out. Go have fun. And if you enjoyed it, and if you enjoy this, please scrizzle, barizzle. I will see you in the future. The kids want to play Baldur's Gate 3. Not saying it's not gonna happen. Not saying it can't happen. Just saying there's places to be people to see. But hey, who knows? But until then, we will be doing fun stuff tomorrow. I think we're good to go, and yeah, just kind of a fun weekend. I believe there was just a lot of things happening, and the internet did a weird thing on Tuesday, which made me kind of doubt the situation. So we're keeping an eye on that. We should be all right. On the off chance that things blow up, because things love to blow up, then hey, I hope you have a very wonderful day. And until then, ciao. Matane. Plays off, Red Wimps. Hadouken. Man.